Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How is everyone doing on this very fine weekend? Or is it a fine weekend? But anyway, I just need to share something with you guys. Something major happened. We went out for lunch, and this happened not too long ago. This is probably on a Thursday, I'd have to say, like a Thursday. We went to a really nice restaurant, and we, wanted to get away for a little bit and decided to, oh, nice time, get away, have some delicious food. It was called the Yard House in Temecula, California, if you want to look it up. And come to our amazement, just having a great time, just him and I getting away from the house and spending quality time together, my 18-year-old son and I. And out of the blue, we're looking, actually my son was looking, he actually caught this before I did, and he saw a guy smoking in an area that was a designated area where you're not supposed to be smoking. There was a smoking sign on the trash can, but it was a tiny little sign, you could barely see it. It is noticeable, but you can barely see it. He was having a good time with his wife and friends, and the guy decided to pull out a cigarette. And he smokes a cigarette, like right on the bench. And it was, again, it was like Temecula Mall. It was like kind of an outlet mall. So he wasn't indoors. He was outside on the bench. And we were, in the restaurant outside as well. And the restaurant was not connected at all to this bench or this outside area where he was sitting at. Out of the blue, the cops surrounded him and basically asked him for his ID, and he gave him his ID and said, here you go, and the guy pulled his ID out, the cop, and threw the wallet back at him, and then said, you're arrested or something. Like, basically, they just arrested him. And he was tackling them. They were tackling him, and he was trying to get out of it, and he's like, you're not even going to read me my rights? And we were just sitting there, and I'm looking at my son. I go, what is going on? And he's filming the whole thing. And again, we are going to upload this so you guys can see with your own eyes. And he said, I cannot believe this. They didn't even read him his own rights. They just tackled him and arrested him for smoking a cigarette outside. It was absolutely astonishing what we saw. To actually see it firsthand, not like on TV or on YouTube or, whatever, or on commercial or whatever. We actually saw it, and we were sitting there, and it was funny, like we picked the perfect time to sit, have our lunch, the day, and go to that specific restaurant. And that had to happen like maybe 10 minutes from the time that we were seated. I was amazed, and it was really funny because my son and my husband were talking about how Obama just basically announced that the Miranda rights are no longer important, that the cops have no right, or they don't need to be reading the Miranda rights if they feel that there's a suspicion involved, with somebody or a terrorist act or whatever bull that they can concoct to their imagination. So it was 2 days before this happened, and let me tell you something, you guys. This is really funny because, again, my son and I, Austin and I, we felt this feeling, because we know that my husband's getting out of the military. Thank God, by the way. He's getting out in July, for sure. And we had this feeling like, what, when he gets out, like we just had this feeling in our gut, and even he said this, I just don't feel like being here anymore. I don't feel like being in this country anymore. And I said the same thing. I said, you know what, honey, I don't feel like being in this country either. It's just really weird. Yeah, we talk about going to South America, we talk about going to Mexico, we talk about going to all these wonderful places. So we basically, stated we're just feeling it in our gut, and we're just sensing a lot of crap going on, and then 2 days later this happens, and we've really made the decision even more so to say we really need to get out of this country. If you feel that you have an opportunity to get out of this country, then I would do it in a heartbeat. We do want to step out of the ring when the mothership of the USA does tend to sink. I think it's only smart to do that. But again, there's some of you that want to sit tight and fight it off. That's good for you too. I mean, it's whatever works for you. I mean, we're not being chicken. We're just what we've seen, we've already felt, and I'm thinking, you know what, this is pretty bad. I mean, I'm hoping it doesn't get to that point where it gets horrible and it gets worse, and you know they call martial law and all that. But all I can say is get your papers in place. If you do tend to stay in this country, but if you don't, good for you. Get out while you still can. And I've never, I mean, yes, a lot of people will say, oh, we see this all the time in concerts, and, you know, cops, they bust people, and da-da. Yeah, of course, when you're drunk, when you're fighting, when there's violence, that's understandable. But the guy was just pulling out a darn cigarette, and then, yeah, I've heard some snotty-ass comments, oh, well, you know, if it's going to endanger the person next to me, you know, next to them, you know, of smoking. Okay, okay, smart, wise guy. How about them chemtrails that fall from the sky? Can you describe that? I mean, the chemtrails, all the crap that is dumped from the sky from these who knows unknown planes that get you sick every day, to me is even worse than smoking. Okay, so don't give me that garbage. So anyway, back to this reality here. You know, I'm just letting you know that things are about to hit the fan. Listen to your intuition. This is not fear-mongering. This is due to our experience, and as soon as we get this this video up, we'll put it up. But it's just an awareness for you to be aware, to let you know that that shit's about to hit the fan here.